Good morning. This is Pastor Ieisha from the Love Church. I had not had a chance to finish my series on Bless, and so today I wanted to take that opportunity to finish the last letter, which is S, and that is just sharing your story. I think this is the most appropriate time to talk about how to share your story with people you have been praying for, people you may have met in your goings and coming. I know that it's a very hectic time in this season because of the crisis of COVID-19. However, this is the greatest time to reimagine evangelism. And so sharing your story is very simple as this. We've already begun with prayer, which is the letter B. We have the letter L, which is to listen with care. We have eat, and that was to eat in the community and just being with people, being with your family, especially people you may have placed on your list to pray for, or having a cup of coffee or tea with a coworker. S was to serve with love. Now, my part about sharing a story really is piggybacking off of serving with love. I had talked about doing random acts of kindness, being there for people who you may not know, and especially in a time where people are losing their hope, they're losing their faith, they are in great distress, they're becoming depressed, and the climate that the United States of America is in. But I realized, and I want to share my story about what God is doing in my life as a result of my being faithful to the principles of Bless. The other thing about serving with love, you also have to be on the other side, whereas you also have to be able to receive. And as a pastor, I am placed in many different positions where I have to care for other people. I have to do things for other people, not making no announcements for it. But it's very humbling when God will allow the same care that you give to someone else for that care to come back to you as well. As you know, because of the crisis that we're dealing with COVID-19, there have been many people who have been threatened with their jobs, losing their jobs, and it hit home personally for me, especially with my daughter who lives in a different state, and she's not like around the corner, but she's a couple of hours away. And you know, if you are a mother, you are always going to panic about your children until God settles you to tell you to trust Him. And so what God did for me is that, how is it that I can care for everyone else and making sure that they have food, make sure that they have the things that they need during this crisis, but I'm not able to reach out and touch my own. And so what God did is He allowed many people who gathered around me, whether they were in this state, whether they were in Pennsylvania, whether they were in New York, or even in Rhode Island, they gathered around my daughter. And for me, I knew that it was God because it was very humbling, because God allowed me to see that even in the midst of you serving as a first responder and being on the front line, someone definitely, or many people definitely have not just my back, but they have been ordained of God to stand even in the trenches with me. And so I wanted to share that on today. When you share your story with someone who may not necessarily know who God is and what God is capable of doing, sometimes, we can get real churchy and we could talk about the grace of God, we could talk about the redemption of God. But what I am reminded is that when we focus on what God is doing, especially right now when people need to hear about hope, I was able to take that same story and share with another mother whose daughter was in another state and was maybe 4 hours away from her, and she didn't know what to do. But when I shared my story, it not only gave her the hope and encouragement to be able to reach out to her daughter, but it was also a source of information. It was a source of things to do right now, how to tap into that community where her daughter is at, so that she did not feel like her daughter was abandoned. And so I just want to encourage you that as you go throughout your day, especially on this week, remember the Bless initiative, the intentional evangelism. Begin to pray for people. Put them on your list. Prayer is so important right now in this season of where people are losing hope. Listen with care. At work, I just happened to walk into the law library and I had to listen to one of my colleagues, and I just listened. And at the end of the conversation, she said, "Hey, thank you for listening." And so I know that God used me in that moment to listen with care. And remember, eat. I know we're practicing social distancing, but when you go home, try to eat with your family. Try to eat with someone, even if you have to do it over the Zoom or over FaceTime. Eat with someone, talk with them, talk about what's going on with their day. People are becoming more and more isolated. They're breaking down mentally, especially for those who cannot stay at home. You know, the ones who have to still press their way and press and trust God. You know, reach out to them, talk to them, see what's going on, and then serve with love. Amen. Find different ways, whether it's digital, whether it's shipping a package, whether it's buying something for someone that they need. I know plenty of my friends, plenty of them, who don't even want a title, don't even want the recognition, but they're standing in the gap and they're seeding into people's lives every day, one way or the other. And so I'm praying for them. I'm praying for all those that are on the front line, making bags to bring groceries to the elderly, shipping out packages to people who have lost their jobs. And the last thing is share the story. And so this story that I'm telling you today, share this story. Why? Because they need to know that God is still here and he is very present in the time of trouble. So God bless you and have a great day.